Villawood Detention Centre regularly, and giving support and workshops for anyone who wanted to do art. And then with the works that are produced, we curate exhibitions and put them in journals and put them online and publish zines, so that refugees can express themselves through their art to the Australian community, and so that we can also educate the community and hopefully clear up some of the misconceptions that surrounds the refugee issue. The work that came out of the project, some of it was very creative and very inspiring. In particular, there are coffee paintings which were begun in the Villawood Detention Centre by Saad Tallah, who was an Iraqi refugee. And he had no access to paint, so he started painting with instant coffee powder that he mixed with water and started to produce these amazing paintings. And so he taught that technique to a few other people, and now there's a tradition of coffee painting within the Villawood Detention Centre. And for me, that's very inspiring, because they're using materials that they can find within the detention centre to make works that help them to transcend that environment, you know, to create something beautiful with whatever they have. Through the project, we formed some very close relationships with people within the Villawood Detention Centre, and we've stayed friends with many people even once they're released into the community. I think the hardest thing that I've had to deal with was the death of Ahmed Ali Jafari. I knew him for 1 year when he was in detention, and we'd become very good friends, and he died from a heart attack in 2013, and he was only 26 years old. So that was a very difficult thing, I think, for his friends and fellow refugees and supporters to deal with. The strongest impression I have from visiting detention is simply the mental health crisis that exists within detention. Everyone's depressed, everyone's anxious, or taking sleeping tablets, and many people develop far worse psychological problems, including post-traumatic stress disorder, from their experience of being in detention. So I think the chronic mental health illnesses that you see amongst refugees is the worst aspect of Australia's detention policy. It breaks people down and often leaves them permanently damaged. I think art can certainly help people to an extent. It can reduce the stress of being in detention, and I think the feeling of being able to express themselves through their drawings and paintings has hopefully given some agency and sense of power to people in a very disempowered situation. So I hope art can certainly help people to deal with the stress and the anxiety to some extent. Having said that, the only way to really help people in detention is to take them out of detention. So art classes isn't a solution by any means for people who are locked up indefinitely. But I think the artwork itself is very powerful and has a strong ability to communicate something of their experiences to the general community, to attack and criticise the policies of our government and the racism and the xenophobia which drives government policy.